here in a little bit, which is a LAVA complex in Brentwood. My grandfather's name on my father's side and the father-son team is Jonathan Arthur Tealtone. Now, people on this planet say tilt tone because the Earth on Mother Earth, this Earth, is tilted on an axis. He has a brother named Raymond. Now, there's the ray theory, which was created by a whole bunch of different people in different dimensions. But Alice from a single head lice from the looking glass is the television. Those aren't movies. They, on this planet, Mother Earth, they lied to all the people. It's hell on Mother Earth, where they send you from the council, if you've heard it from Sylvia Brown, where they send you here, and it's all pre-planned and predestined, Mother Asna. And there's also another highly enlightened, which will bring me to the South Star of Octantis, because it's an octagon, right? But the ant of anthropology, right? Because my insect matrix of the Amazon matrix was hacked into a long time ago by people using amphetamine. Now, amphetamine has a pH in it as a pharaoh. And we just came to connections today with Gordon Ramsay. He's a chef, Mr. Chief, right, of the Gordon Ramsay. Now, if you take that with the ram's fleece from the story of Harley Quinn, who is Aphrodite, and there's Aphrodite, which is a colored Aphrodite. So, and then you take the ram's fleece, which was Eros and Psyche, right? Because Harley Quinn is a psychologist. So, and it's just another Adam and Eve story, you would think, but it wasn't Adam and Eve. It was a lie. See, we were insects back then. And it was Adam and Anna. Anatomy more God. Okay, so once you get there, then you realize Demi Moore, right? She played G.I. Jane. Now you can spell J, right? The normal one, Johnny, right? Because it's really the vowels, and Vanna White knows this because she's a fortune baby. And when I was going up, I don't remember, but I got told through the visions that Vanna White told my mom on the television to choose my name, Jean Nellie Burke, for genealogy, for original. Now, my grandmother, who dated Jonathan Arthur Tealtone, Tilton, if you spell it backwards, it's not lit, right? Because I'm not high. But, so her name is Virginia, virginity. Now, this is a lot to keep up with in your brain. Now, Virginia is right next to our District of Columbia. Now, District of Columbia is right next to Maryland. Now, Mary had a baby named Anna, Virginia Ann Tilton, Jonathan Arthur Tilton. It's teal tone, the color of discussion, the color of no, the color of let's sit and talk about this without any sexual identity or thoughts about that. Now, the drug methamphetamine is crystal. It was started in Hawaii on the international data line. I don't like to say dateline because that coincides with the Dow Jones, with the dowries that they used to sell us off for, us girls, because I'm not a female. I'm feminine. Now, the true aspect of all phenomenon, which is the eightfold world, which is back to talking about Octantis, which is a 8-point star, which is the 4 mothers and the 4 fathers. Now, they haven't told anybody from this planet about this. So I'm not a male, by the way. I was born Eve. In order to get into having a girl body, and I transitioned. And I'll tell you why. Because in the true aspect of all phenomenon, like when I was Jesus from the Mount Olympia, who is a whale, by the way, I had to transition in the Dvita chapter of the Lotus Sutra from Shakyamuni, which is Siddhartha. That's where the connection with my father comes in, with my grandfather. So, which also he had Raymond Tilton and Theodore D.D. Tilton, which brings you back to the 4 fathers of Theodore D. Roosevelt. So when you bring your memorism back, and you could do this in your life as well. I am the creator of all existence, and I am also an integral membrane protein programmer. I reprogram integral membrane. That's us, right? We're organic computers. And on this earth, they have yet to inform that, because they didn't want to inform any of us of the voodoo they put on our ancestry, like I was saying. So I'm going to MacArthur. Now that brings up the witches, the Macbeth witches, which recently Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife, Beth, she did a lot of work with methamphetamines and crystal, and trying to get her girls, because she considers all cauldrens. Now, cauldron is spelled on this earth Cauldron. Now, that's wrong, because our womb is prenatal, right? Or prenatal chart. Not even the astronomers on this get that right, because you're determined not at the time you were born, but the time the first little species or species. See how the she is in there? Now that still has an E if you look further in, right? So that leaves us with a hermaphrodite. Now, I'm sorry I'm bouncing around here, but I'm trying to get your head in the game. My name is Jeanelle, Jeanelle, space Lee, space Burk. I put the R in my name in coming to this planet to lock away the revolver, because the lowercase r looks like a gun. You see that? Let me just add this here. See, now I'm shooting bullets. So my name, Burke, and the proper spelling, if you can, is that wrong on your thing? Because should I write it the other way? There, now it's spelled right, Burke, right? So, book, now you notice that the camera is not at the right angle, like as if the mirror that men said were behind our eyes. On this planet, they kept people in black and white matter in their brain. When they look up at through the telescope, they see my brain, which used to be men's mind, but it is not. it is my brain, and I cut my head off and I put it into a fortune teller's ball. Now, fortune, right? It's spelled Fortune here, and it's not the correct spelling for that. So the correct spelling for that would be Fortune. So not to get off track or anything, I'm having my friend's piss beer, Miller, Stephanie Miller. She's a good friend of mine. She's a real estate agent in Sacramento, the Sacrum, because I enclosed everything as I was supposed to in the Eagles Peak song. The forefathers of Eagles Peak, like Sejartha, Guatemala, which got moved from Guatemala over on the east, in the east, because it's that way on the in the line. So Midway Island is kind of like the starting point, and it's a zero, so it's midnight right there, right? So, let me just pull out this. Now picture a ball here, and I'm just pulling out the the midline, the Midway Island right there, and I'm like this, and I'm thinking, all right, there are volcanoes there. Then I think of a volcano, and even as a child, I think of the different volcanoes, and I think of Samoans because I think of the movie, the cartoon Moana, and then I think of Israel, who sang over the rainbow, and how he's fighting against the lava, right? Battling against the lava, and that's my grandmother in that movie. She's the Stingray, the Raymond series. And the Raymond series, The Will of the Government, captured by J.S. Bailey, spelled Bailey, and actually, and J.S. Bacula. Now, they came out with different versions, like I said, Alice in the Wonderland, the Tel Aviv, which is a foreign television. And foreigners have a problem with vowels because it's a dancing, say, sub-dominant language. Now, when sub goes around, it's Rosa Parks, it's Polly Mully, and they switched it to Polly Murray, so it takes you to Bill Murray and Caddyshack, and Be the Ball, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me with your long walk, Mark Twain. Shania Twain said, spell your stuff right. Twine, twine. So it's Twai, right? So I'm trying to convince all these people that I know what the hell I'm talking about here. So, and I will delete all existence because when I said, marriage, right? Mary in the Bible. She didn't have Jesus. A lot of people are confused about that. She had Anna, analog, right? So am I on analog now? I'm just going to lay down and take it, your brain signals, right? You're just going to put me on a log because I'm a lesbian. I'm Ray Zuban. Lesbian, brain, AI. See the AI in there? You know why gay guys are just labeled gay guys and they don't have their own alien name? Is because they don't belong in my space. Now the XY chromosome and treating it like a domain they named me, a female born. I'm female born without a penis because I thought only males had sperm, right? But I'll use that to my advantage to make more lesbians. So it goes all the way into the wheat and the whey. They have on quarters arrows. Now we're getting back to Eros and Psyche and your marrow, your arrows in your bone marrow. Now I took and I put marula, which is an African tree, an African knowing tree, which goes to the leaves, right? How do you spell leaves? Leaves. Heaven. Heavens. Heaven. Now that's heavens. You see the word eaves in there? Eaves, leaves, eaves, belief. Now, the spelling on this planet is Belief, which keeps you in the curse. Now, a curse is spelled Curse, right? Now, curse, right? I'm using cursive. I just switched the pronunciation. Cure, C-U-R-S-E, right? Cursive. Do I have to add the E and then S-I-V-E? Cursive. Now, why is that sive and why is there hive, right? In the B, is it behave? So these are the problems in the dancing language that I'm helping people with. I don't think I'm famous in space on alien TV because look, I have cameras right here. I have a retina, right? I have lenses. I have retinal scanners. I'm not upside down looking at my eyes because our technology has grown to having thoughts that were upside down. Now this may be sideways, right? So it's not producing right? See, that's backwards, right? When you're reading it, it's like, oh. But when I'm looking at it, I can read it this way, high life, right? So when I'm looking at the camera, I see high life. So, but you watching this are seeing it backwards, right? You're seeing Elif, what? Like Efil, he, leaf. Hi, he leaf. Yeah, I wish you would leave. See, my mom and all the lesbians made the best Ken doll right here because we're Amazon warrior princesses and Valkyries. The Valkyrie, you would think it was a mountain, but Valkyrie, cursive, Valhalla, Valley. Now, is it Silicon Valley? Are we wearing Madonna tits here with the tassel, David Hasselhoff? Do you know who's buried at Madison Square Garden? Jim Carrey and David Hasselhoff. That's how they got Jimmy Hoffa. So this is how long I've been doing it and trying to delete these men from my earth. Looking like a man. I can't even be a lesbian with this face because it sends the wrong message to my girls that they'd like it. And then they're like, well, I made myself a Ken doll. A Ken doll, perfect anatomy from Martell, right? Now, Martell and Mabel, Tyler Perry. There's a Taylor Perry. Oh, Periwinkle. Oh, not the Mansons again. See these connections? They just released her out of prison finally, knowing it wasn't her fault that these men were controlling her mind and her brain in my space, X space. My exes aren't in Texas, by the way. I moved them. See, I'm like a zillionth X, a Zelda X. And if you know that, then you know Japanese and you know sgi.org. And you can do your faith practice and study to know that we're pretty funny Buddhists. We're not scary, right? We're witches. All Hallows Eve is the night before Christmas when we cut down the penis tree. Penal tree. Is your penal? I put my penal in my mouth because that's where you eat pie. Get it? So I took it out of the middle way between my hemispheres and I put it in my mouth. Now I got penile mouth. I got penile diamond, right? Neil Diamond, because you got to get the music. Look, my face is changing. Can you notice it? Only if you're enlightened. Maybe it's the beer. It's alien piss beer right here. I hear when I taste. Bud from all my children sends me messages. In my taste buds, my 5 flavors. So my 5 senses, which is also mouth movements. So you got to be pretty high level skills here to know all this and to program. I use Pure Ramming and Pure Remington. You remember that guy, Remington? He's I think Burt Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds had a grandfather clock godfather, and it wasn't Al Pacino. No, was it? I'm just asking, rotating the question here. So I just wanted to know if pendulum up in the gears of your head, men. Are you the machine? Are you Machini? But I look like a situation right now. Just want to say that. This is from the real world, the life, because I'm from New Jersey. I'm the Jersey Devil. See, it's Godevil. Now, if you spell that word, it's lived, O-G. Country, Kuntree. Right, our two queens, Reba and Dolly Lee Parton. Not rap, she said backwards. I don't like the rap. But I'm going to wrap this up. It's 20 minutes. Thank you. Please pass this video on so more people can be educated. My name's Gene. Genealogy. Not in a bottle. But do I rub it? Does it give me luck? Let me see. Goldie Jean Hawn's out of the bottle, finally. She's one of my mother selves in a Freaky Friday situation. It's really happening. So, in my past life, I was Marilyn Jean Monroe, just so you know. My ruler brings all the nuns to the yard. Damn right, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. All the gay guys are hiding in the ruler. I'm hiding in the T-square. It's like this in the astrological chart. So, and it's like, so that's what a T-square is, right? I wrapped it around my head like this. Sorry, I'm going on and on. Look, it's a musical note. So you can't see the separation right there, but I wear it like this. See? You know, and then just picture, just visualize, right? Me and Wanda Sykes, right? So we're just going to visualize the T-square going up here, and then put this around, and then the creases right here in your forehead. That's the international date line, right? Don't date me. I'm too sexy.